the hearings that are going on in Washington now with Ketanji Brown Jackson. She is getting the first full day of actual, like, sort of back and forth questions. And Marsha Blackburn really is having quite a time. But first, let's hear. Let's just hear Dick Durbin and Ketanji Brown Jackson, where Ketanji Brown Jackson is talking about Josh Hawley's opening remarks and his Twitter thread, where he is claiming that Jackson was soft on crime when it came to sentencing child pornographers.
There are troubling patterns.
Yes, troubling patterns he's noticed, I bet.
I thought about his charges as I watched you and your family listening carefully yesterday, and what impact it might have had on you personally to know that your daughters, husband, parents, family, and friends were hearing the charges that your implementation of this law, sentencing, endangered children. Could you tell us what was going through your mind at that point?
Thank you, Senator. As a mother and a judge who has had to deal with these cases, I was thinking that nothing could be further from the truth. These are some of the most difficult cases that a judge has to deal with, because we're talking about pictures of sex abuse of children. We're talking about graphic descriptions that judges have to read and consider when they decide how to sentence in these cases. And there's a statute that tells judges what they're supposed to do. Congress has decided what it is that a judge has to do in this and any other case when they sentence. And that statute doesn't say, look only at the guidelines and stop. The statute doesn't say impose the highest possible penalty for this sickening and egregious crime. The statute says calculate the guidelines, but also look at various aspects of this offense and impose a sentence that is, quote, sufficient but not greater than necessary to promote the purposes of punishment. And in every case, when I am dealing with something like this, it is important to me to make sure that the children's perspective, the children's voices are represented in my sentencings.
I think she could also have just, like, pulled the sort of like classic trope of, this is, it is up to you, Senator, to change the laws. It's my job to follow them. I do not believe in a judge making up the law as she goes along, and the statute does require me. I mean, if she really wanted to go hard at Hawley.
She was hinting at that, but she can't. She doesn't have the luxury being a black woman in front of.
She should go Kavanaugh and just start screaming like an angry badger.
Ask the moms.
Yeah.
Ask the moms. Can you imagine? Can you just even imagine if she was just like, well, I like beer.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine?
Have you ever heard of boofing? Because it's fun.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's so many sort of hits from that.
It really is stunning when you look back on, like, how the hell is that guy on the Supreme Court? And they have the audacity to say, I mean, look, I would like a Supreme Court justice to the left of KBJ. But relative to Breyer, it's an upgrade. And there's also no doubt, from the perspective of those who, are talking about, like, the quality of jurist, like, she's just so far heads and tails above the intellect of a guy like Kavanaugh. It is stunning.
And less gambling debts.
Well, yes, among all the other things.
Ask the moms.
I mean, like, she could not just contemplate for a moment. If you are one of those people, I would certainly hope that you would not be listening to this program if you were, frankly. But if you're one of those people who are convinced that Kavanaugh was railroaded, if you're one of those people who are convinced that Kavanaugh was railroaded, just contemplate the chance that Ketanji Brown Jackson would have if even anything remotely close to those accusations. If there was an individual, never mind what the accusation was, there was an individual who's willing to testify on any accusation which required her to say the words, "I like beer," if she would be on the Supreme Court. I mean, honestly, like...
You think I'm soft on child molesters? Look at my calendar. I wrote, I hate child porn every day in high school. Every day.
I mean, it's just impossible to conceive of.
It's just unreal.
Or even just her doing his energy for even a brief moment. It would be a giant,
5 seconds of her having anything remotely close to his disposition there, and everything would be, you'd have Tucker Carlson saying she's an affirmative action pick, she's not worthy of being there, and then everybody else would be saying, like, I just wonder if she has the judicial temperament.
Yeah. It's a long way of saying that there's a lot of double standards for white men
yes,
versus black women and black people in general.
Yes, a very long-winded way of saying that, but that's my trademark.